Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back. We're going to do Ken Shoulders number 56 today. And this is going to be a really, really good one. In It was 9 years ago when I actually wrote 80 pages of handwritten notes from Paul Laviollette's work on subquantum kinetics to do with Tesla, free energy, and anti-gravity. And we're going to we're going to go through some of that today, but we're also going to go through a ground penetrating radar report that came from Dr. James Schwartz, who was a really good friend of Paul Laviolette's. And James shared this ground penetrating radar report that was done at Wardenclyffe. And James did find a earth antenna there, and we'll go through that at kind of the very end. But what we're going to do with my papers here is I've chosen, these were 80 pages of handwritten notes that were done 9 years ago, and then they were kept in the private until about 5 years ago when I brought them out to the public, and that's when I put the cover page on them, which says 2021. And Elena Denon was actually the very first person in the world to get them. Dr. Sala soon after that. In fact, after that, I actually sent them to Paul because I kind of forgot about him. And basically, these are my study notes from Paul Laviolette's work. We are going to digitize them and get it so that most people can read them, but we'll go through now. And I just want to describe Dr. James Schwartz, who we're about to watch here in the first interview that we did on my YouTube channel called Technology Envoy. He was really good friends of Paul Laviolette. And all of the work that we're going to go through and look at is basically a contribution of Paul Laviolette and Dr. James Schwartz. These two are probably the most eminent Tesla experts on the planet when it comes to subquantum kinetics. And they were very, very, very good friends. In fact, I inevitably told James that Paul had passed away. He didn't know. And I didn't know that he was good friends with Paul either. So there's lots of cool stuff that happened. But what we're about to watch is Dr. James Schwartz is probably the greatest humanitarian on the planet because of what I'm about to show you and other things as well, but this especially. So let's have a look at this on my YouTube channel, Brandon, and then we'll get Chip to start reading through some of the stuff.
You can see my picture. It's about so big, about the size of a shoebox.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's going to sell all over the world at about a maximum of $30 or $35. That's all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's only for the very poor districts of the world because
Yeah.
80% of the people living on Earth does not have electricity because they're
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
So now they can have one of these. Now it'll only put out 300 watts.
Okay.
Now I've had this technology way back about 20 years ago when I built the first one out of a transmission from a car. And we had to hoist it up and put it on a pole because it weighed about 50 pounds. And
Okay.
it had a spike on a gear on the outside off of a bicycle with the spokes with a chain that goes over it. Now the way it worked was I had it about 20 feet in the air, and it all these gears turned a small generator, and it will put out at that time about 150 watts. That big heavy. Okay. Now, and what powered it was it had a 60-pound weight connected to one side of the chain. You pull the weight up to the top, and when you let it down, as it goes down slowly, it generates electricity.
Oh, okay.
Now,
wow.
So back then, that technology wasn't very practical. But here, as soon as LED came out, that made a big change in it right there. Right. Now you can light up your whole house with a lot less than 300 watts on our house with small LED lights. Okay. Yeah. And they give off just as much light as a regular bulb does. So you see, that's how we're going to give poor people electricity.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Uh, Now, we had a think tank study of this, and one of the first things that came up is if these people are so poor they can't afford electricity, how are they going to afford to buy one for $35? Well,
Right.
uh, I visited the Philippine poor areas, India, and lots of other countries. And the way they can have things like say, a bicycle for their kids or a washing machine, they get it through these lenders in the neighborhood. See, a lender will come to your house. He will deliver that $35 generator to you and even hang it up for you. Okay. And you pay him so much every month. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe only $1 or $2. But
Sure.
instead of $35, they wind up paying about $85 for it. You see.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but they can still have electricity, you see, and
Exactly.
they can
Yeah.
afford that. So that's going to be my gift to the world.
That is amazing.
Full generators.
All right, Brendan, thank you. So we're going to start going through some of the papers. And one of the other things I wanted to say about Dr. James Schwartz is, and it's actually in this interview, which is on my YouTube channel. It's the second one that I ever posted. So if you scroll right to the very bottom, you'll find that. This is just a short clip from it. James went to Wardenclyffe and he used ground penetrating radar, and we're going to go through that report today. But the other thing that he did is he went to Colorado, and again, this is all in the interview. He talks about this. Using the ground penetrating radar 3 feet down in the ground, he found crates of Tesla's notes buried, and he still has those. The ones that weren't destroyed, because a lot of them were, the paper wasn't any good and all that kind of stuff. He still has the crates that were still good and whatnot. And he talks about that. So he's got information directly from Tesla, probably that no one else has, essentially. He is, I consider him to be the most eminent Tesla expert on the planet, period. End of sentence. So he's also part of this group, you guys. He's actually part of this Sunday group, as a matter of fact. Maybe we can get him in here again at some point. All right. So Chip, let's and Brendan, let's go to the pages here. And what I've done is I've kind of chosen ones that have to do with what we're talking about today. And this is the papers that I wrote 9 years ago, essentially.
Okay. Phase conjugate mirror. The silvered mirror surface is replaced with a translucent piezoelectric crystal such as barium titanate, which has nonlinear optical properties.
Very important.
Nonlinear, very important. Okay. The phase conjugate mirror, in effect, generates a new set of light waves that have the same angle, wave shape, and phase as the incoming light waves, scattered from the target object, but travel in reverse direction, moving back toward the target. The effect appears as though time has been made to run backward, causing the incoming scattered light waves to reverse in their tracks.
I just want to kind of jump in here. John Hutchison, when he first started working on the Star Wars program that Ronald Reagan personally brought him into for DARPA, this statement right here is the gold, basically. When they figured out how to do this, then they were able to track missiles and literally shoot them out of the sky.
My gosh.
Yeah.
The effect appears as that time had been made to run backward, causing the incoming scattered light waves to reverse in their tracks without phase distortion, I assume. Okay. The light stays bottled up, confined to a beam that extends among the laser light source. its illuminated light scattering object, and the nonlinear medium of the object, and the nonlinear medium of the phase conjugate resonator. Okay. Since the light waves have no immediate exit, the energy trapped in the phase conjugated resonator can build up very high intensities.
Yeah.
And go into the next page.
Yeah, so the next page doesn't actually follow. I just kind of put that in there. This is the next page is kind of where we really jump in and talk about how it actually the transmitter works, Tesla's transmitter. And one thing that I want to say here, we're going to talk about Hughes Aerospace. Couple things. First of all, Chris Beskar told me that Howard Hughes didn't die when and how they said he did. Second, Hughes Aerospace is probably, maybe other than Stavati, probably the largest aerospace company in the world. They were the world leaders in electrogravitics and always have been. I just wanted to kind of point that out because most people don't know about Hughes Aerospace. So
very interesting. Okay, so I was talking about the Titan Beta modulator. Unit power to 3.5 microsecond pulses at a rate of 180 pulses per second. Hughes aircraft are the world leaders in electrogravitics.
So the reason why that statement is in there is because the radar system that's in the front of the B-2 bomber that makes it anti-gravitic is exactly what we just described there. It was built by Hughes Aerospace, essentially. So that, right. So there's proof in the pudding of what I'm saying, essentially.
Very interesting individual, Howard Hughes. Okay. Tesla's magnifying transmitters also function as phase conjugate resonators, and it was most likely known to him. The Wardenclyffe Tower was the largest of his generators. The central part of the resonator consisted of a large flat spiral coil mounted horizontally and shielded with a
68 foot.
68-foot diameter mushroom shape and a dome electrode. This whole structure being perched 187 feet above the ground, the top of a wooden tower. The center of the coil was electrically connected to the dome electrode to form a resonator. Power inductives supplied to the coil would surge in the resonance between the coil and the dome electrode, pulsing the dome with extremely high voltage. The dome electrode consists of a honeycomb array of 1 foot diameter parabolic shells, whose small corrective radii facilitated ionization of the surrounding atmosphere.
Yeah, that's important.
All right, on the next page. Thus, when electrified, the entire dome would have been enveloped in an ion halo. All right. The nitric oxide gases that would have formed in this halo have electrical properties that are very nonlinear and would have served as the ideal phase conjugating medium.
There's the magic right there, you guys.
No kidding.
Huge clue.
I'm going to reread that one. The nitric oxide gases that would have formed in the halo above the electric properties that gave very nonlinear and would have served as the ideal phase conjugating medium. We may deduce then that this ion halo would have phase conjugated the tower's resonant oscillations, allowing it to function as a phase conjugate resonator in its entirety, the whole damn thing, to generate field powers far in excess of the power used to run it. The whole thing is resonating. Wow. Since the dome electrode would have been radiating longitudinal waves to the Earth's ionosphere, an immense soliton would have formed between the halo and the ionosphere. And since the halo would have phase conjugated, the waves would return from, roll down just a little bit. phase conjugated waves would have returning from the ionosphere. The tower returning in have been able to draw an energy cohered from a vast region of space.
The tower would
This,
have been able to draw on energy cohered
yes,
from a vast region of space.
So
OMG, what's
yes,
that
basically,
stand for?
he's
OMG?
using
OMG.
oh
Yeah,
my God, he's using a soliton essentially and phase conjugation to create over unity, but he's drawing it directly from the environment because of the gas that he's producing. It's brilliant, right?
fusing the entire, going all the way to the ionosphere.
Yep.
Holy Jesus.
Okay, this is where it gets a little wild. So if you have problems, see my handwriting's getting worse.
Eddie, why don't you read it? I mean,
If he can read his own handwriting,
I can't read
um,
my handwriting.
I'll
well,
give it a shot here.
yeah, and I'll jump in. You
All
just
right,
have to
these,
kind of go with the flow of like the waves because that's what's going on. It's wavy, right?
yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't those Word
Deconvolvers.
documents, the digitized versions, be easier?
Yeah, but I
Or
haven't
are they
actually
not
gone through
accurate?
them. I haven't gone through them to double check them yet, Jeff. Jeff is actually
Okay.
helping me digitize this because eventually this is going to go in a book. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to go through them yet, Jeff. So we'll just have to. So go ahead, Chip, and if you, I'll help.
Okay,
These
very good.
magnificent, magnifying transmitter.
Magnifying transmitter, yes. These magnifying transmitter emitted a repeating series of very high voltage
Shock fronts.
shock fronts. Yes, okay. From their dome-shaped
So,
electrode. Their
Yep.
electric profile saw
Was
sawtooth,
sawtooth shaped.
yes,
Yep.
sawtooth shaped, unified a very sharp rise or
With
created something
sorry,
with, yeah,
with
with
a
a
very
very
sharp
sharp,
rise. Yeah.
yeah, in the potential and a subsequent uh,
Subsequent um
field
field.
more gravitational decay, and the
uh,
field was decaying longitudinally in the direction of the wave propagation. Okay.
yeah.
All right, makes sense. A classic primary longitudinal wave
when
propagation.
operating.
Yeah. Okay, so gravitational then separating, would gravitational then separating is transformed potentials approaching, build up an immense field potentials approaching 100 million volts. As a result, the cumulative effect of the repeating pulse cycles.
Yep.
My God, this thing's huge. The
Yep.
progressive amplification of these phase conjugated waves is an example of what we earlier referred to as the field-induced soliton phenomenon. The
Okay,
high
that's
voltage
sorry to stop you there, Chip, but that field-induced soliton phenomenon is what the aerospace engineers call all of this
field-induced soliton.
phenomena.
But
Yeah.
the soliton is acting as a waveguide, I suspect, also very interesting. There's a cause and effect here, but it may be a closed loop. The high voltage that
Accumulated.
accumulated as a result of the repeating waves would have been apparent as a glowing luminescence. Tesla radiant energy effects grow with time. The radiant electric effects were additive and
And
cumulative.
cumulative, yeah.
Very interesting. Resonance.
And then
Huh. The permalloy, what is that?
Permalloy.
Permalloy, yeah.
it's a type of
Permalloy,
core. It's a type of
yeah.
transformer core, right?
All right, the permalloy strips produced a series of impedance discontinuities that formed current-dependent electromagnetic grading, a electromagnetic grading pattern along the waveguide.
Yep.
The grading modulated the surface condition of the waves in such a way that it would reflect them back as phase conjugated waves. Tesla had also discovered the secret of making coherent spark discharge characterizations by negative resonance.
Resistance.
Resistance, yes. He once commented that this is working properly. It would be noisy to be efficient, short, blah, blah, blah.
It should sing. It should sing to be
Yeah, it
coherent,
should sing,
right?
i.e. coherent.
Yeah.
So he's mixing some negative energy here, creating it.
It's all about negative energy, essentially.
Yeah, allowing it to resonate, allowing it's still self-correcting. It's self-assembling, but self-correcting. Thank you, Source.
So this is actually the very, very last page of my of these notes, page 80, essentially. And that's where there's a little thing at the bottom there, Brendan, if you don't mind.
All right, fine.
We have the technology to save this planet now.
And this was 9 years ago when I did this, basically. So we definitely
How
have it.
many years ago, Eddie? 9 years ago.
9 years ago, yeah. It went into the public in 2021 with Elena
that was a year before we started Model G Group, a year before it.
Oh, that's interesting in itself, yeah.
You say it was February you did it?
I think it was right about this time of year, March,
about a year
February, March.
I started the Model G Group after I sent an email to Paul in February 2018.
Wow. So this was 1 year earlier, I believe.
I
think it was in 2017.
Did anybody take pictures of the Warden Cliff Tower in operation? I mean, did he actually get this to work?
Oh, yeah.
Is he actually creating the soliton waveguide all the way up to the ionosphere?
Yeah, and what
stable scalar system resonating in between?
What we're about to go through here, this is actually the Warden Cliff ground penetrating radar report that I got directly from Dr. James Schwartz, who you guys saw, who's a very good friend of Paul Laviolette's. And at the end of this, we're going to show you the Earth antenna. This is really awesome stuff. And again, he went to Colorado with the same ground penetrating radar and found crates of Tesla's notes in the ground. Check out that interview with Dr. James Schwartz and Carmen. She's on the interview as well, too. Yeah.
So are those notes digitized anywhere?
Jeff is actually helping me do that, but I haven't gone through to proofread them yet. So
I'm talking about the stuff dug up.
Oh no, we're still working on him with that. I think I don't know about that. We did ask a bunch of questions. If you watch the interview, you'll see me, Carmen, and Legia basically working hard on him to try and get that to the public, and maybe that will happen at one point. Other thing I want to talk about is James Schwartz. He was Dan Willis and James Schwartz are the best of friends. That's the other thing I want to say. And of course, Dan worked directly with Marcel Vogel. So there's a real connection. Also with Dr. Sala. Dr. Sala's all on this loop as well, too. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Murray, you were going to say
congratulations, something. Eddie. You wrote the secrets of how to do free energy in a major way in an encrypted style that not even the AI can read.
That is a great point, Murray. So I never actually wanted to digitize any of this up until Jeff offered that we do it, and only because we're doing it, it's going to be in a book eventually. But you're absolutely right. Maybe that is why because nobody can read that. Basically, AI can certainly,
except for Chip, right?
Exactly.
You beat the AI.
I have a very heavy deconvolution algorithm running while I'm reading.
Of course.
So when we get done this, I will send all of you guys in the group these 80 pages. It will be in 2 different emails because the PDF was too big for one. But you guys are welcome to try and read them. And once we get it digitized, we will go more forward with that. But the other thing to understand and know is all 80 pages have already been gone through and recorded on Brandon's channel. In fact, there's 8 shows, and that was the very, very first thing that we ever did with Brandon's BJD 798 YouTube channel. So it's all there for you guys already, as a matter of fact. So
Now, can dictation technology then transcribe that
Well-
into print?
that's what Jeff is helping me with, and we've got it almost done, but I haven't got it proofread yet.
Right.
So that's why we're not using it quite yet, but we will. Definitely, we will. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there, and it's all from Paul LaViolette. It's not got anything to do with me. I'm just the messenger, basically here. Yeah. All
Do we
right.
want to read some
What
more
caused
here?
Yeah,
your
yeah, go ahead.
paralysis? I guess I was curious about your paralysis. I think you mentioned it in an earlier
I had 2
presentation.
large chunks of my L2 disc broke off and hit my spinal cord.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's because he was hanging around John Hutchins at the lab too long.
Actually, didn't know John back then. Not personally, anyways. That's funny.
John got him levitated and dropped him a little too hard.
Well,
All right, this
sure.
this paper is from the Noah's Ark Research Foundation, September 2006, titled "The Wardenclyffe Research Study and Radar Report." God damn. All right, not many people are willing to talk about the site, but we were able to get this study report from one of the town hall officials. It's from the Shoreham Hamlet study, in particular, in July of 2002, subtitled "Tesla Property, circa 1901." The Nikola Tesla Laboratory, most recently known as the Peerless Photo Plant, is located between Randall Road to the west and Tesla Street to the east, between North Country Road to the north and Route 25A to the south, figure 3. It's in Colorado Springs. The original brick building was designed by famed architect Stanford White and financed by J.P. Morgan.
This is Wardenclyffe.
This is
Oh,
Long
it is
Island.
Wardenclyffe.
Yeah.
Long Island, yes, okay.
Yeah.
To the south, figure 3. All right, the original brick building was designed by famed architect Stanford White and financed by J.P. Morgan. It was intended as a location of Tesla's prototype station for the world broadcasting system. Dr. Nikola Tesla, a Croatian electrical engineer, immigrated to the U.S. in 1884, was not only the inventor of the alternating current AC electrical supply system, fluorescent lighting, the Tesla induction motor, and the Tesla coil, but also acknowledged inventor of the radio. Excuse me. A 1943 Supreme Court decision invalidated Marconi's radio patents because of Tesla's prior work. I did not know that.
Mhm.
Stanford White's associate, W.D. Crowe, designed the 187-foot dome cap tower for the laboratory, but the project was never finished due to insufficient funding. In 1917, property was foreclosed and the tower destroyed. The laboratory and its former tower were not only designed to transmit radio signals, but also the wireless transmission of power. In fact, Tesla's Wonder Tower was the first transmission tower in the world. During the remainder of the 20th century, the Tesla property was used for a variety of industrial activities, most recently for the preparation of photographic emulsions. Significant soil contamination has occurred as a result. Access to the property is currently controlled by a security guard. Any future use awaits final cleanup of this contamination. Property is currently zoned L3 Industry Planned Industrial Park, although this zoning category requires 3-acre lots. Industrial zoning is inappropriate for this area. We recommend that the town rezone it to A2 residential as a protective measure. Following the cleanup release of the site, the parcel should be developed to include a cultural center and science museum, the former Tesla laboratory. The remainder of the property should be used for attached single-family homes or owner-occupied condos. This proposal is discussed in greater detail. Terrestrial resources. Yep.
You know, the rest of this stuff is really of no interest to us. It's local politics.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to go into the report here, you guys.
Well, can we skip ahead?
Yeah.
I can just put it up, and people can read it if they want from the screen.
Well, we
scanned.
should read the report because that's
Right.
why I brought this all up here. So
Yeah, yeah.
keep going. Keep going.
All right. Yeah, I will skip lightly a little bit if we can. Helen.
Yeah,
All right.
we didn't need to go through this part of it, but the soil.
Right.
I'll just
well-
kind of paraphrase. If I can just summarize a little bit as I'm reading ahead a little bit. Second, known area of soil contamination associated with the photo plant. 16-acre site use for preparation, photograph emulsions. Discharged wastewater was involved in the site recharge as a result of a number of environmental issues. Contamination in groundwater detected during investigation, identified by New York City Hazardous Waste. It developed an environmental report prepared by current owner, evaluating cleanup sites contaminated greater depths, contamination a little deeper than expected. Public comment period, scheduled review, blah, blah, blah. New York ensure the site is clean with residential standards. So they want to build homes. All right, recommendations. Soil cleanup for residential sites. Peerless. Photo property. Historic environment aspects of the test site are discussed in detail. On the next page.
See what we got here. That's all zoning, so we don't have to go through that.
All right.
Historical
Yeah.
significance.
Yeah, that's probably the place to start. That's historical.
All right, so here's an update. Let's try that. The Sherman-Hamlet study update. Changes since the Hamlet study. This is still talking about zoning and residential issues. I'm down to the second paragraph. In addition to recent upzoning completed, preparation proposed remedial action site prep meets the Hamlet study. According to this all Hamlet study, town should reconsider creating a new zoning district. Permitted uses include schools, cultural center, public, all right, because of its location. Should possibly dedicate entirely for uses of cleanup. Okay, next page. All right. All our recommendations. Our public use historic cultural center. Noah's Ark Tesla Tower study report. Here we go.
This is what we want, yeah.
Yeah. We arrived at the site September 27, 2006 at 1 o'clock, introduced our team to a man named Stanley Myers. He wouldn't give his last name, who said that he was the foreman of the restoration project. At first, he wasn't very friendly. After we had a permit, we called someone on the cell phone to get permission to know the current setup, our tent equipment. We found out that this guy was just a flunky security guard, not the foreman. Members of the crew came to see the equipment. After I told them to take some tests, the research project became a little friendlier. Next few days, second paragraph. Our engineer and radar research team found many anomalies in the original report. Some of it didn't jive with our radar readings. There were also many mistakes and other information given to us, even though the special permit, some of the research team is not welcome to the site. They assigned one man to go with us. Heard Tony telling him we're very careful not to out the group. After 3 days, next paragraph, we packed up, headed to the Philippines. Glad to get back. Very amazing fact that camping ancestors got smart from studying Tesla's research. And our short version report is 32 pages, blah, blah, blah. Radar printers are too big of a file. They're driving to see some sort of metal copper was detected at 122 feet from the surface. The reason that we believe it's copper is it looks pretty well intact. Iron would have rusted after 100 years plus. All the cadmium and other chemicals have been dumped by Peerless Photo products that were being dumped by during the time they occupied the problem. From the way the metal is arranged, it looks somewhat connected to the base of the tower. This is its grounding substructure. There were three pieces of metal connected together to form one piece at one end of the three pieces and three pieces at the other end. The three pieces are connected to three large 2-foot square blocks of unknown material, which we believe to be cement. Check the drawing and see what you think. We have been racking our brains and discovered, trying to figure out what it's using. Unfortunately, Tesla was never able to finish the tower. We may never know what it was. All right.
So this is what really wanted to show you here. When I first saw this, I told James that I thought that it was a quadrupole earth antenna with delta time built into it. And you can see that the little things with the three things coming off, that's your delta time basically built into this antenna. The depth in the ground.
Tried it.
Yeah, it looks like a trident. The depth in the ground is really important. So if you take that 122 feet and add it to the 187 feet, um, this is the length of the soliton that he was trying to form, essentially. The soliton was formed between the Earth antenna and the middle of the mushroom shape, or the torus, essentially, right? That's where the magic happens with phase conjugation, and that's how this works, essentially. Now, whether he got it working or not, I debate that, actually. I would probably say that it was successful, and that's also part of the reason why it was torn down. Maybe you can read through the stuff that's
Okay. All right. Yeah, just had a phone call. I had it done. All right. So we're looking at the trident, the tower's Lorentz quadrupole. Sounds like that the blocks are much softer material than the cement readings. Okay. Pieces of cement scattered around the base. But yes, the geometry is critically important. And 137 is not involved. Interesting. All right.
Okay.
so
That's it.
actually read the thing at the top there too.
We're fairly sure that Tesla was planning on connecting all four sections to form an Earth antenna. Yes.
Yeah.
So the wavelength of the soliton is involved in this.
So 122 plus 187, but here's the thing. Over 100 years, there could have been some difference in the ground depth because of, just dirt, essentially. So the number might not be exactly perfect, but if we use that number, now we can go back and do the math and realize that it was this giant soliton that he was trying to recreate and phase conjugate, basically, right?
He would have reserved a way to fine tune it, knowing that the exact geometry could not ever be achieved.
Okay, I can help with that one. Actually, what he did is he had tanks of seawater, and these tanks of seawater have a certain capacitance to them. So when he's tuning his circuit, because it does have to be tuned, he's actually lowering and raising the amount of seawater that are in these tanks, which is basically his capacitor portion of all of this, essentially. So I can attest to how he did that, essentially. I've seen photos and videos of his secret laboratories, because he had multiple secret laboratories as well. One of them was at the top of the Waldorf Astoria, and I actually have seen videos of that, including the ground connection to the Earth antenna, because I think it's the Waldorf Astoria, is basically like Wardenclyffe, but it's on steroids. So his research did carry on, and they did build it as a hotel, but it was actually all wrapped around. It's kind of like the Philadelphia experiment. They built the project and then built the ship around it, or in this case, the building around it. His laboratories are upstairs, and I've even seen the connections that go down to this the soliton connection, essentially, to the Earth ground, or the Earth antenna. The Earth ground is not a great word. Earth antenna is a better word for that. So yeah. Lots of cool stuff, definitely. It'd be really cool to get James in the group here to talk again, especially about his flex power generator, because that's something that he didn't show you that's in that interview. He's got working free energy technology that has been going for years, actually. He actually has Bitcoin machines that were given to him by a friend of Elon Musk's, and those Bitcoin machines, there's 4 of them that have been running off of free energy for years. The other thing is James is actually building a 1 megawatt version of the flex power generator to go on. It's already scheduled to go on the grid in Africa. And he's already got the same friend of Elon Musk lined up to have multiple Bitcoin machines, as many as he possibly can. Like if he can run 500 or 1,000 of these things off this thing, he's going to show that to the public at some point here. Dr. Greer also knows about James, because Dr. Greer actually went and interviewed him. I thought it was after my interview, but I checked on it, and he had done that before. So he had also been to and shown the flex power generator I believe. So yeah, James is the greatest humanitarian on the planet, and was a very, very, very good friend of Paul Laviolette. So this is dedicated to James, which we'll send to him when we're done here.
Yeah. Where does he live?
I'm not going to say because yeah, he's in the States though. Yeah. If
How
you
old
watch
is he?
the interview on my channel, it's all there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's old. I don't know. I don't know how old he is. Yeah. He's definitely older than us. Probably a
70s and 80s.
probably a generation older. He could even be in approaching his 90s, even.
All right.
Yeah.
James
I'm
Schwartz.
remote viewing 86 for some weird
James Schwartz.
reason.
Dr. James Schwartz, who is best
He's on
friends
the list as well. He's on the email list as well. Wait.
Yes, he is. Yeah, and so Dr. James Schwartz, and he's best friends with Dan Willis, also, who I also know as well too, right? And Dan and Elena Denon are really, really good friends. As a matter of fact, at Elena's next conference in Scandinavia, I think it is, Dan Willis is going to be there presenting with her. So, yeah.
It's in Stockholm on May 23rd.
There you go.
She's in France a week before that or so, a week, 10 days before that.
Yeah. And these papers that we just read through, again, she was the first person in the world to get them, like literally. And then Dr. Sala about 3 days later. So these have been circulated around for about 5 years now, essentially. But what Moray said about the AI not being able to read them, I never thought about that at all until you said that. That is so cool, actually.
Just scan the damn thing in as an image and see if Claude or Grok can read it.
Yeah.
We'll call Kaspersky encryption. We'll name it after you.
Well, there you go. That's very cool. Right on. So does anybody have any comments or anything before we shut the recording off, or what do you guys think?
Okay, have a short one's fine. I mean, we do long ones sometimes, don't we?
I just a real quick comment. I'm always amazed the intuition of these individuals. And like Moray likes to investigate and his studies and whatnot. Same thing. Tesla always thought really big, it would seem, and he was dealing with quantum processes, but he fractalized, scaled it up into something we could actually touch and work with.
Yeah,
that's his genius.
Yeah, he's responsible for the alternating current and the that's one of his main ones.
Yeah,
it was Edison who wanted DC current.
Yeah, it's a big fight. I know.
And that's known in standard physics. That's known in conventional physics. Edison wanted to have DC current, and Tesla was saying no, AC current is better. The dynamo, So
I could see Tesla getting a nighttime download. Pulse, very short pulsed, very high voltage devices will stir up the quantum vacuum field. And that might be all he got. It's pre-disclosure, right? It's free will involved. We are expected to fill in the gaps. And so he did a really good job of it.
Tesla was from Serbia. Was it Serbia?
Yeah.
Or, Serbia?
Yeah.
And he would travel to America, went to live in America from Serbia.
And an interesting...
The Balkans, the Slavic, isn't it?
It's interesting that you brought that up, Brandon, because I know someone else from Serbia, and actually I don't personally know her, but I do know her husband, Chris Beskar, because Chris's wife is an electrical engineer who is originally from Serbia.
That's scary.
Super awesome, scary. Yeah, but yeah. Wow. There you go. Right.
Also, Tesla was before he got proper work. He was the work that he was going to do. He was working in a ditch. There's one or two movies of his life, and he was digging ditches. At one point before he got. Yeah. And I understood quite a lot of his knowledge was done intuitive downloads. He didn't work it
Yeah.
out from scratch. He was
Yeah,
he
he admitted
What-
that. Yeah.
One thing though, guys, is the narrative that's in the public about Tesla is actually all wrong, because he didn't die poor. He had laboratories, like I said, at the Waldorf Astoria and other places, and he worked with the military the whole time. It was just all super, super classified. They basically built another Wardenclyffe Tower on steroids as the, that was his laboratory. He was operating and doing this stuff the whole time. Just people don't
Is it true
understand
that
and know.
is it true that he had this kind of thing about when he was eating that the cloth had to be his napkin had to be tidy and things like that. Is that true? Do you know about that? Anyway, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Charles
Charles
know
just
more than
brought something up. Yeah, I don't know about that part, Brendan, but Charles brought up something very interesting too. Is yeah, Nikola Tesla in 1939 retired as the vice president of worldwide engineering at RCA. And this was the highest technology company on the planet. RCA tubes are still considered, Western Electric and RCA tubes are still considered the very best of the best that was ever built, essentially. Tesla had everything to do with all of it. And to
he was
make
also a showman. He was also a bit of a showman. Is that right? Like he was a show. He was a bit of a showman. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know him, but I just heard that he was like displaying and advertising his work and things like that. Is that true? That he was a bit of a showman.
I'd say he was probably pretty reserved about what he was show. He did show a lot of things, but
Yeah.
yeah, I, I've read a lot of the stuff that isn't in the public domain on Tesla, including the 400 different ways that he tried to build a light bulb. And when you learn and kind of understand how the man's mind started to work, then you really get to understand what he was all about, essentially, right?
What happened to his notes? What happened to after he passed away? Did the CIA
Oh,
take all his
so
notes like
so
that?
Dr. John Trump, which is Donald Trump's uncle, actually went into the safe and yes, took the notes basically. But they did that because he was already working for them in classified programs, and they had to retrieve all of this knowledge essentially. There's a lot of other stuff that he did too, including his death ray, which basically used mercury particles to take down, or theoretically take down aircraft from hundreds of miles away, essentially. It's basically your first directed energy
And he was
weapon,
also saying
essentially.
basically to JP Morgan, he was saying that wireless the water is it the Watercliff Tower. That we can have energy for
It's
free.
what we just went through,
And
yeah,
then Morgan was saying when he explained it to JP Morgan, JP Morgan was saying, well, where's the meter? How am I
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
to make money out of it?
yeah.
So
So
and then
that so they made him tear down the tower, but what ended up happening was the military said, "Okay, we need you to continue your research." Just like Tesla actually was part of the Philadelphia experiment. He ran the project at the very beginning as well, too, right?
yeah.
Einstein worked with Tesla. He didn't run the project.
No, it's
Nikola Tesla ran it.
Brown, Tesla, and Einstein. So Brown, Tesla, and Einstein working on the Philadelphia experiment. Is that right?
Yeah, and Dr. John Van Neumann, if I'm saying
Dr. John Van
Neumann.
is that von
Yeah,
Neumann? He was the
yeah.
top mathematician. He was like I think he was thought of as probably one of the top mathematicians in the world, von Neumann. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Germans had a hammerlock on that with Minkowski and all those guys. Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. So on my channel, I've been going through the Philadelphia experiment and Al Bielek, because Al Bielek worked directly with Nikola Tesla and Einstein and all of these guys on the Philadelphia experiment. Plus, he actually worked on the Manhattan Project as well. A lot of people don't know that. He was also part of that for a little bit as well. And again, you guys met him. John Hutchison told me that Al Bielek used to call him on the phone all the time. Like that was really cool. And Alan, you've met him before, right?
Oh yeah, many times. Mostly at USPA conferences over the years.
Yeah. And what about Moray? Did you ever get it? I think you did.
At the conferences, and I told the story about being in hotel room.
Yep. Yep.
So it's circles back to how did Al Bielek be transporting across time as kind of like he lived two lives. It reminds me of Corey Good,
Hmm.
right? And the reason
Yep.
and the reason I was so impressed with these whole stories, which I'm trying to piece together, it reminds me of things like walk-ins and things like that. I told you the story, the guy sitting there next to me during that episode of showing Al Bielek
That's right.
impressed me that,
Even
well,
more.
how do you know all this stuff, right? It I became I've been puzzling over how these stories. Oh, you live two lives, right? And then you have a time machine story that goes along, trying to piece all that together. I keep coming down to the idea of a walk-in, and it's cemented in for me when Elena, at the end of her talk, the one that you sent me, the first talk, where
Hmm.
she was freaking out over channeling.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she says, don't. And I said, whoa, where is all this emotional energy coming from? As she was, getting all upset. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then I was just piecing together the consciousness ideas that the consciousness itself obviously is not centered on the brain. We have souls and all that. So it kind of makes sense about spiritual entities, and is it possible for someone to then invite a walk in and participate? And I think Al said something like that as I talked to him about. I was puzzling over, and the puzzle was over consciousness. How does
Yeah.
somebody have knowledge from two different lives? And of course, you read stories about reincarnation memories and things like that
Yes.
over the years. So kind of, as I piece it together logically, how can all this stuff fit together? I would take a consciousness of another entity being shared in your mind with you over, oh, we had time travel technology, which the time travel technology belongs way
Well,
advanced, but aliens is,
I'm
I don't
I'm
know if we have it. Well, I mean, we're touching on
I'm
it when we
about
do the Philadelphia experiment, and we don't,
I'm
we're flailing at it, right?
Moray,
Anyway,
I'm about to stop you in your tracks because especially with my friend Rebecca Rose, they use 20 and back technology, which is time travel technology. Essentially, what they do is they send you off on a 20-year mission, which she did three of. And at the end of that mission, they bring you back seconds before you left, basically. So that's how they wipe out those sections. And then if you choose to do it again, in Rebecca's case, there was no choice. She was part of the deep state, or the German secret space program known as the Dark Fleet. So she was abducted. So she had no choice in the matter. She's the only person that I know of who has physically seen a reptilian before. And she described it to me and what happened and whatnot. So these technologies are all locked up in the secret space program that William Tompkins designed. And David Wilcock has a lot to do with all of the knowledge coming out because he was very good friends with William Tompkins back in the day. Plus, Frank Chili brought William Tompkins to the public. And of course, I know Frank Chili. I actually have had contact with 6 people that knew Tompkins personally. So it is all locked up in the Solar Warden program, which was the good secret space program ran by the Navy, which is now called Space Force, essentially.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now that I guess that gets to hits the nail on the head as far as what I perceive as a contradiction. So for the only way for us to be that advanced, both flying saucers or big craft, as well as a time travel type technology, my concluded it had to be gifted. It has to be from advanced civilizations that make contact and are gifting it to us to make this story fit together coherently, because this jump ahead that we all of a sudden kind of screwing around and just have bits and pieces on warping space time. Philadelphia experiment, we're kind of flailing on it. John Hutchison is a great example, right? He's kind of twiddling things and playing with it to go from that. Okay, we're starting to see we can manipulate this fabric of space time, and all these wormhole, all these ideas come to life. going from that, which I believe is possible, to an advanced mature technology. We have it all developed. It means an advanced civilization, millions of years ahead, who knows, is contacting us and giving us this technology, and that's why we have it. So it's a
Yeah.
contradiction that we have super advanced stuff that's so secret, and
So
that
Moray,
I don't think we developed it. I think it
that
was
is,
gifted.
well, you're partially right, because that is the whole story of William Tompkins. It's called Selected by Extraterrestrials because he had others, but especially these two secretaries, Jessica and I can't remember the other one's name, Tiffany. And these two were basically gifting technology to mankind and humanity. And he was the one that was kind of the conduit for it all. And he's also the one that developed the secret space program called Solar Warden and all of the craft that are built in the classified programs and so on and so forth. When you read through, I know that you've got his books. When you start reading through, you're going to be,
I don't have his books.
oh, I thought you were
William
going to
Tom.
get them. Yeah, you should.
Well, I have so many books piled up that I still need to read. I haven't.
You should check
I
check
still do a
his
day
out.
job, and so at a
Yeah,
small company, so I don't.
yeah,
I haven't have. Well, I'm intrigued by the William Thompson book because they keep coming back to him as the source of, okay, how do we know all this stuff? And it's him,
and
or Corey Good, right? Sala was very impressed with Corey Good.
yeah.
So so
I was
there we
actually,
have it. I'm concluding it's minds, right?
yeah,
You're concluding it's a technology. Then I said, well, if you're right, then this has to be gifted technology because it's so far advanced to have any maturity on high travel control or anything else.
yeah,
It's way beyond our science. Um, so
But I think,
there's the puzzle,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Uh,
And you mentioned Corey Good. As a matter of fact, in August of 2021, David Wilcock invited me to Colorado to meet Corey Good and to be part of a seminar there with him. But I couldn't travel because my spinal cord surgery was just months, or yeah, not even a month before that, essentially. So yeah, Corey's pretty interesting. Corey's story also leads back to 20 and backs as well. So if you learn the technology of the 20 and back, now you understand more about that. And David Wilcock and Corey Good were good friends. Some things happened through Gaia and some of the other things that were occurred. So there's kind of a split there, but they were really good friends. Yeah, definitely.
Right. In
And
fact,
I've
that's
had
where I
contact
learned of
with,
them. I
yeah,
think it was one of David Wilcock's either books
yep,
or video or something that, okay, he's really believing Corey Good. Salah's believing Corey Good. And now I'm stuck with we either have super advanced technology or we have the phenomena of the mind, walk-ins, all the fact that it's a memory and channeling and all these other things. So we're stuck with those two things, those two possibilities. I mean, I haven't concluded what's true. I'm just connecting dots,
yep,
right? It's so much easier to say, okay, that that it's our minds are experiencing this, and we're essentially channeling or walk-ins, or all the other ways of communicating where mind-to-mind communication occurs. That's one hypothesis on that side. The other side is, oh, we have all this advanced technology, same old, right? We've been time traveling, and that one's hard to believe that humanity has that. That's my belief. It's just a belief thing. I don't believe we have it that advanced. And then, but if I'm wrong and we do have it that advanced, that means somebody had to give it to us to accelerate us ahead thousands of years, rather than we gradually learn to do it.
I think it's like a combination of both things. It's like we've been influenced, and special individuals like William Tompkins and his
hmm,
secretaries, if they were really extraterrestrials, they put things in his head and said, "Oh, build your engine this way," and did that. So a lot of it was sort
exactly.
of downloads without them directly saying, "Look, here's the engine. Here's how you build it," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's what Tompkins said is that they would put these thoughts and they would flash all at once into it, much like when Tesla saw stuff, he would have
Yeah.
like a thought flash, and then he would have everything right down to the finest detail. William Tompkins was much the same. And yeah, it is all locked up in classified programs, but we have been gifted also, yes, as the Germans did as well, too, you guys. When we talk about the German secret space program, we need to realize that it was the Greys and the Draco who gifted actual spacecraft to the Germans. And in August of 1942, they were the first to be on the moon. Um, the other thing that they did is they converted submarines to anti-gravity, and those were actually the first spacecraft that the US and the Germans probably possibly used as well, because the submarine has everything a man needs to stay alive in, essentially. And once you can just float it out to space and control it, there's no problem. There's a movie called Above Majestic that was produced by David Wilcock and Corey Goode, and William Tompkins is in that movie, and William Tompkins passes away halfway through that movie. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys watch it. I
Can you
think
send
it's
out the link? Just
I,
send us the link.
I'll do that.
Gonna,
Yeah, I think I've got it in my playlist. But I
send
will.
the email thing.
Yeah, I'll prepare a good email today with a bunch of stuff, including my papers. And we'll send that off to you guys as well too. So yeah, for sure. Okay,
Yeah, and
well,
like, and you quote that number, 2,996 flying saucers, and I go on, that's 3,000, right? Why they stop? Why
yes,
they
that
stop
number.
four short? I chuckle over that. Oh yeah, we had the other four, but they kind of broke. But well, the disconnect is one thing to have channeled ideas and everything else. It's a whole other thing to mature technology.
Yeah,
I just happened to be in chapter in Sal's book about the German secret space program, and that seems realistic to me. Are futzing along, just learning to do the technology, having crashing, very crude. It's kind of beginner stuff, like right,
so
and
But
they were, and
that's what they,
so it's
yeah, go
it's
ahead,
they
been
were
well
Charles.
hidden.
playing with. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I think it's been well hidden. It's interesting that Corey Good came out with all this information, and then what did he say in court that he made it all up? But
Yeah.
I think the whole thing was basically an operation that he touched on all the important things they'd like to keep hidden, and then when he did that, he's able to copyright it, and I
Yeah,
guess Gaia won't be able to use it in
So
federal
like
court.
disinformation, sort of like just
Yeah,
to sort of muddy the waters.
there.
and it's
I
interesting too. Look
That's
at
the
the
only way they can
resemblance
control it.
between.
That's the only way they can keep it hidden is they can't keep it hidden because the secrets get out quite easily. The only way they can do it is to do disinformation and ridicule.
Right,
So,
exactly.
because they can't hide it, so it's hiding in plain sight. So that,
Discredit
yeah,
it.
yeah, and you're right, Charles. I actually have a whole opinion about that because, believe it or not, I was part of the person or part of the process of drawing Corey Good out of all of what happened with Dr. Sala and David Wilcock and everything, because I'd have had contact with him as well. Um, we'll
Yeah,
get
because he's
into
a
that a
Sal's
little bit
connection.
more.
He's got
Yeah.
to check on him for sure. I thought it was interesting the resemblance between Corey Good and Martin Bormann.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
I don't know
Another
why,
idea.
but he's very
Yeah,
similar.
another idea in the fray, which is part of the consciousness, is parallel universes idea. Parallel universes,
Hmm.
right? That's all part of the quantum physics, many worlds interpretation, and it's the only way that you can make time travel self-consistent logically. You have the time paradox if you only have one universe. So all this that's part of the debate, so to speak. That's okay. I believe the parallel universes exist. Therefore, there can be consciousness living lives in parallel universes. Now we have a consciousness connection.
Yeah.
And do
Yeah.
we actually have this technology? And then we have us human ways of working crudely with the technology, which is believable, like the electrogravitics. Yeah, you're gonna propel the craft. Is it anti-gravity, ion, wind propulsion? Right. But it was all very crude when we play around with it. And then you leap, and then the other side, it's all very advanced, already have it done like a million years ahead or whatever. And then you have people saying it's absolutely true, and everybody else says you're making that up because it's unbelievable that, oh, we invented it that fast. So I throw the other, okay, we did it in a parallel universe, right? That's
So,
there you go.
so Lorray, there's something else that I'm going to provide with you guys today in these emails, and this is a MUFON presentation that Frank Chile did on the Rockwell space chart and on William Tompkins' work and on the secret space program and the Rockwell space chart and NASA and blah, blah, blah. It is spectacular. And it was actually done exactly the same day that I had my Zoom call with David Wilcock when he started describing Stevati Aerospace and Chris Beskar and everything else. And that exact same day, Elena's second book, We Will Never Let You Down, was printed. Frank did the presentation on October 30th of 2021, and October 31st of 2021 is when I had posted the theory of anti-gravity on the Stevati and David Wilcock site, according to Paul Laviolette's work, and it ended up oddly number 51, which is interesting because we know the story of Stevati Aerospace and Area 51 and Chris Beskar and so on and so forth, including your friend, Pete Peterson. He was a huge part of all of this. Yeah, so there's lots of cool stuff, and it's neat that you knew him. I mean, this is
Well, that's also part of, why I'm thinking it's a mind thing. I'm trying to piece this together.
yeah.
Logic it's frankly, it sounds like a fantastic science fiction. It's unbelievable.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's easy
beyond
for
belief.
anyone beyond to dismiss it. It's just hallucinations by
I think
people.
also,
So,
one thing I was going to say is that even in conventional physics recently, is it true that they've teleported molecules in conventional physics?
yeah,
Yeah,
we're just starting to play with it, just
Oh.
starting to realize the
in
higher dimensional stuff exists.
Oh yeah, I
So we're
saw
beginners at it, right?
yeah.
I saw reports, military reports from DTIC, Defense Technology Information Center. They actually put this out years ago. I saw it. It was a report. I think it was China or somewhere in Asia, maybe Korea, where they had teleported living insects.
Yeah.
And this was a report written by a staff military
Mosquito
staff.
abatement.
Do you say teleported living insects?
Yes.
Yeah.
That takes care of the mosquito problem.
In a mainstream paper, or is it
no? This was a declassified, believe it or not, military report.
Yeah.
On the government, the military's own site, DTIC.
Well, even the government has admitted that UAPs exist. The US government has admitted that UAPs exist. They're just saying they don't know what they are, and they're investigating.
So you guys,
2017 New York Times admitted that before that they would say they would just say, oh, you're hallucinating, or you're seeing a weather balloon, or you just don't take it seriously.
So you guys, there is a classified teleportation project that was run by the US government called Project Pegasus. And my father's good friend, Peter Panic, actually worked on that project back in the day. Andrew Vasiago's a lawyer who lives in Washington State, and his father was the chief engineer of the project. There's some great interviews on Dr. Sala's channel. There's actually a playlist on my channel about teleportation that talks about this project. I've tried to get a hold of Andrew Vasiago and actually get him in the group or have some kind of interview with him. And I have had no success yet, but I'd still like to be able to do that. This project, Andrew Vasiago himself was taken by his father through the porthole, which is like a Stargate, basically. And the reason why he did it was to show that it was safe. If he was going to take his 10-year-old son or however old he was through there, it proved that this thing was safe for the military and everyone else to use it. Now, the other thing is my friend Rebecca Rose, who has done 20 in backs and was part of the German secret space program. She ran the jump gate, which is the same thing I'm talking about here, from Delsey, New Mexico to the moon. But she did it for the Dark Fleet, for the German secret space program, because of her psychic abilities. These technologies are actually out there and being used in classified programs, essentially, right? That's what I can tell you from experience with these people directly.
And it's plausible that advanced civilizations have it, and therefore it's plausible they're gifting it, right?
Yep.
A
And
friend,
then,
a friend of mine
Shakti is
told me about all over Europe there are these subterranean rooms you can go in, and you go through a passage and a doorway, and you're 30 miles away, and you can jump
Yep.
around.
Yep.
And the reason that he found out about it was because there's old church records that were kept in all the churches over those centuries.
Yep. Yep.
And
Definitely.
they talked about it.
And of course, the movie Stargate, you guys, that's full disclosure, basically, right there. That Stargate is essentially the Project Pegasus setup.
And Star Trek as well, and Star Wars, Star Trek, Star Wars,
Yep.
and Stargate.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we should probably stop the recording at some point here too, Brendan. I think we forgot. Lots of
Okay.
good stuff, though.
Thank you.
now they know. Everyone now knows.
Exactly.
They teleported insects.
Because once the recording stops, I'll explain a bit more about why I'm a teleportation expert.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Cheers. Take care. Bye.